Question 1. During the needs assessment phase, a business analyst identifies the high-level needs that led to the project's initiation. What is the primary purpose of conducting a thorough needs assessment? A. To define the specific technical requirements for the solution. B. To ensure all stakeholders agree on the project timeline and budget. C. To understand the core business problem or opportunity and its impact. D. To develop a detailed project plan for implementation. Answer: C. To understand the core business problem or opportunity and its impact. The primary purpose of a needs assessment is to delve deep into the business problem or opportunity at hand, truly understanding why a change is needed and what value it aims to deliver. This initial step is critical for aligning the project with strategic objectives and preventing solutions from being built for undefined or incorrectly understood issues. For instance, before building new software, a needs assessment might reveal the real problem is inefficient manual processes, not a lack of existing tools. Always remember that thoroughly understanding the why ensures the team builds the right solution. Question 2. A business analyst is working on a complex project and needs to ensure that all requirements are clearly understood and unambiguous before development begins. Which characteristic of requirements is being emphasized here? A. Traceable. B. Attainable. C. Unambiguous. D. Prioritized. Answer: C. Unambiguous. When a business analyst emphasizes clarity and precision, they are focusing on ensuring requirements are unambiguous, meaning each requirement has only one possible interpretation. Ambiguity in requirements can lead to misunderstandings, rework, and project delays, as different team members might interpret the same statement differently. For example, if a requirement states, "the system should be fast," it's ambiguous. Stating, "the system should respond within 2 seconds for 95% of user queries," makes it unambiguous. Always strive for crystal clear requirements to avoid confusion and ensure everyone is building the same thing. Question 3. A business analyst is facilitating a meeting to gain consensus on a set of proposed solution options. Which business analysis technique is most appropriate for evaluating the options against defined criteria and making an informed decision? A. Interviewing. B. Mind mapping. C. Decision analysis. D. Observation. Answer: C. Decision analysis. Decision analysis is the most appropriate technique when the goal is to evaluate multiple solution options against a set of criteria to arrive at a well-reasoned choice. This technique helps stakeholders systematically compare the pros and cons, risks, and benefits of each option, leading to a more objective and informed decision. For instance, when choosing between commercial off-the-shelf software versus custom development, decision analysis can weigh factors like cost, integration, and time to market. Remember, using a structured approach like decision analysis helps prevent biased choices and promote stakeholder alignment. Question 4. In an agile environment, how does a business analyst, often acting as a product owner or part of the product owner team, primarily manage requirements throughout the project lifecycle? A. By creating a comprehensive, fixed business requirements document, BRD, at the start. B. By maintaining a dynamic product backlog that is continuously refined and prioritized. C. By ensuring strict adherence to a predefined waterfall project plan. D. By delegating all requirements management responsibilities to the development team. Answer: B. By maintaining a dynamic product backlog that is continuously refined and prioritized. In an agile environment, requirements are not static but evolve, and the business analyst, often in a product owner role, manages them primarily through a dynamic product backlog. This backlog is a prioritized list of features, functions, enhancements, and bug fixes that the team will deliver, and it is continuously refined to reflect new information and changing priorities. For example, a new user story might be added to the backlog if user feedback reveals an unmet need, or an existing story might be reprioritized. Always remember that the product backlog serves as the single source of truth for all work to be done in an Agile project. Question 5. Which document typically serves as the primary output of the requirements elicitation process, providing a structured compilation of all collected stakeholder needs? A. Project Charter. B. Business Requirements Document, BRD, or Requirement Specification Document, RSD. C. Project Schedule. D. Risk Register. Answer: B. Business Requirements Document, BRD, or Requirement Specification Document, RSD. The primary output of the requirements elicitation process is typically a Business Requirements Document, BRD, or a Requirement Specification Document, RSD, which formally captures and structures all the gathered stakeholder needs and requirements. This document serves as a foundational artifact for communication, development, and testing, ensuring everyone is working from a common understanding of what needs to be built. For instance, a BRD might detail functional requirements for a new e-commerce website, like, customers must be able to add items to a cart. Always treat this document as the authoritative source for the project's scope. Question 6. A business analyst discovers a discrepancy between what a user says they need and what their actual actions demonstrate they need. Which elicitation technique would be most effective in uncovering these unspoken or hidden requirements? A. Surveys. B. Focus groups. C. Observation. D. Interviews. Answer: C. Observation. Observation is a highly effective elicitation technique for uncovering unspoken or hidden requirements because it allows the business analyst to directly witness how users perform their tasks in their natural environment. This can reveal workarounds, inefficiencies, or actual needs that users might not articulate during an interview or survey because they are so ingrained in their routine. For example, observing a customer service representative might show they frequently switch between 3 different systems, indicating a need for better system integration. Remember, seeing is believing when it comes to understanding real-world user behavior. Question 7. What is the main purpose of validating requirements, typically performed after elicitation and analysis? A. To gather initial ideas from stakeholders. B. To ensure the requirements align with business objectives and can deliver value. C. To prioritize requirements based on stakeholder urgency. D. To distribute requirements to the development team for coding. Answer: B. To ensure the requirements align with business objectives and can deliver value. The main purpose of validating requirements is to ensure that the collected and documented requirements truly align with the original business objectives and will deliver the intended value once the solution is implemented. This crucial step verifies that the requirements are both desirable and feasible, preventing the team from building a solution that doesn't solve the core problem or meet strategic goals. For instance, validating a requirement might involve confirming with a senior stakeholder that a proposed feature truly addresses a market gap. Always remember that validation confirms you are building the right thing, not just building the thing right. Question 8. A business analyst is working on a project with a rapidly changing environment and evolving stakeholder needs. Which approach to requirements management would be most suitable in this scenario? A. A rigid, upfront requirements freeze. B. An iterative and adaptive approach with continuous feedback. C. Sole reliance on formal change request processes for every minor adjustment. D. Developing a comprehensive, all-encompassing requirements document that rarely changes. Answer: B. An iterative and adaptive approach with continuous feedback. In a rapidly changing environment, an iterative and adaptive approach with continuous feedback is the most suitable strategy for requirements management. This allows the business analyst to incorporate new information, adjust to evolving needs, and deliver value incrementally, rather than attempting to define everything up front. For example, releasing small, functional pieces of a system and gathering user feedback enables quick adjustments. Remember, agility in requirements management means embracing change as an opportunity for improvement. Question 9. Before initiating a new project, a business analyst prepares a business case. What is the primary objective of creating a business case? A. To list all the technical specifications of the proposed solution. B. To justify the investment in a project by outlining its benefits, costs, and risks. C. To detail the project team's roles and responsibilities. D. To create a comprehensive testing plan for the final product. Answer: B. To justify the investment in a project by outlining its benefits, costs, and risks. The primary objective of creating a business case is to provide a compelling justification for undertaking a project, by clearly outlining the expected benefits, anticipated costs, and potential risks associated with the investment. This document helps decision-makers determine if the project is strategically aligned and financially viable before committing resources. For example, a business case for a new customer relationship management system would detail how it increases sales, reduces support costs, and manages implementation risks. Always remember that a strong business case is essential for securing project approval and demonstrating its worth. Question 10. A business analyst is preparing to elicit requirements from stakeholders who are geographically dispersed. Which elicitation technique would be most effective for gathering diverse opinions without requiring everyone to be in the same physical location? A. Joint Application Development, JAD, sessions. B. Brainstorming workshops. C. Surveys and questionnaires. D. Focus groups. Answer: C. Surveys and questionnaires. Surveys and questionnaires are highly effective elicitation techniques for gathering diverse opinions from geographically dispersed stakeholders because they allow participants to provide input asynchronously and from anywhere. Unlike workshops or focus groups, which require co-location, surveys offer flexibility and can reach a large number of respondents efficiently. For example, a company with employees across different continents can use an online survey to collect feedback on a new internal tool. Remember, when physical proximity is an issue, surveys can be a powerful tool for broad reach. Question 11. Which of the following is a key activity performed during the requirements analysis phase? A. Obtaining formal approval of the project charter. B. Decomposing high-level requirements into detailed, manageable components. C. Conducting a post-implementation review of the solution. D. Identifying and assessing potential project risks. Answer: B. Decomposing high-level requirements into detailed, manageable components. During the requirements analysis phase, a key activity involves taking high-level requirements and breaking them down into more granular, detailed, and manageable components. This decomposition helps ensure that all aspects of the requirement are thoroughly understood, that nothing is missed, and that the development team can accurately implement them. For instance, a high-level requirement like manage customer accounts would be broken down into create customer account, update customer profile, and view customer history. Always remember that breaking down requirements makes them easier to understand, implement, and test. Question 12. A business analyst is presenting a new system design to stakeholders and wants to illustrate the user interface and user experience early in the development lifecycle to gather feedback. Which representation format is most suitable for this purpose? A. Business process models. B. Data flow diagrams. C. Prototypes or wireframes. D. Requirements traceability matrix. Answer: C. Prototypes or wireframes. Prototypes or wireframes are highly suitable representation formats for illustrating the user interface and user experience early in the development lifecycle. They provide visual mock-ups that allow stakeholders to see and interact with a preliminary version of the solution, making it easier to gather concrete feedback on usability and design before significant development effort is invested. For example, showing a wireframe of a mobile app's navigation allows users to suggest improvements to the layout. Always remember that visual representations like prototypes help bridge the gap between abstract ideas and tangible designs. Question 13. When managing requirements, what does traceability primarily refer to? A. The ability to track the project's budget against actual spending. B. The ability to link requirements to their source, design, implementation, and testing. C. The process of documenting all changes made to a requirement. D. The method for prioritizing requirements based on business value. Answer: B. The ability to link requirements to their source, design, implementation, and testing. Traceability in requirements management primarily refers to the ability to establish and document a clear link between requirements and their various lifecycle artifacts, including their original source, related design elements, implemented code, and test cases. This linkage provides a comprehensive audit trail, ensuring that every piece of the solution can be traced back to a specific requirement and vice versa. For example, a specific feature in a software application should be traceable back to a user story, a design specification, a piece of code, and a test script. Always ensure good traceability to understand the impact of changes and confirm all requirements are met. Question 14. A business analyst needs to identify the different external entities that interact with a system and the major processes or functions they perform. Which diagram type is best suited for illustrating this high-level system boundary and its interactions? A. Entity Relationship Diagram, ERD. B. Use Case Diagram. C. State Machine Diagram. D. Class Diagram. Answer: B. Use Case Diagram. A use case diagram is specifically designed to illustrate the high-level system boundary and its interactions with external entities, known as actors, as well as the major functions or processes, use cases, they perform. This diagram provides a clear overview of the system's intended behavior from an external perspective, making it excellent for understanding scope and functionality. For instance, for an online banking system, actors might include customer and bank teller, with use cases like deposit funds or view account balance. Always use use case diagrams to define system scope and primary interactions. Question 15. What is the primary benefit of prioritizing requirements in a project? A. To ensure all requirements are equally important. B. To determine the order in which requirements will be implemented, focusing on delivering the most value first. C. To eliminate any requirements that are difficult to implement. D. To assign ownership of each requirement to a specific team member. Answer: B. To determine the order in which requirements will be implemented, focusing on delivering the most value first. The primary benefit of prioritizing requirements is to establish the sequence in which they will be implemented, ensuring that the most valuable and critical features are delivered first. This approach allows the project team to focus efforts on what matters most to stakeholders and the business, especially in resource-constrained environments or when using iterative development methodologies. For example, a banking app might prioritize secure login and transfer funds over personalized offers. Always prioritize to maximize early value delivery and manage scope effectively. Question 16. A business analyst is conducting a final review of a developed solution before its deployment. What is the key activity performed during the solution evaluation knowledge area? A. Creating new business process models. B. Assessing the performance of the implemented solution against business objectives and identifying gaps. C. Developing the initial business case for the project. D. Eliciting requirements from new stakeholders. Answer: B. Assessing the performance of the implemented solution against business objectives and identifying gaps. During the solution evaluation knowledge area, the key activity is assessing the performance of the implemented solution against the original business objectives and identifying any gaps or areas for improvement. This phase confirms whether the solution successfully addresses the initial business problem or opportunity and delivers the expected value. For instance, after launching a new e-commerce site, solution evaluation would involve checking if sales targets are met and if customer satisfaction has improved. Always evaluate the deployed solution to ensure it delivers the promised benefits and to learn for future projects. Question 17. Which of the following best describes a functional requirement? A requirement describing the quality attributes of a system, such as performance or security. B. A requirement describing what the system must do or its specific behaviors and features. C. A requirement specifying the technical infrastructure needed for the system. D. A requirement detailing the legal and regulatory compliance necessary for the system. Answer: B. A requirement describing what the system must do or its specific behaviors and features. A functional requirement specifically describes what the system must do, outlining its behaviors, actions, and features. These requirements define the core capabilities that the solution will provide to users and other systems. For example, the system must allow users to log in with a username and password, or the system must process payments securely, are functional requirements. Always remember that functional requirements define the actual capabilities and actions of the system. Question 18. A business analyst identifies a potential conflict between two stakeholder groups regarding a key requirement. What is the business analyst's best course of action to resolve this conflict? A. Ignore the conflict and hope it resolves itself. B. Make a unilateral decision on which requirement to keep. C. Facilitate a discussion to understand the underlying needs of each group and seek a mutually acceptable solution. D. Escalate the issue immediately to senior management without attempting a resolution. Answer: C. Facilitate a discussion to understand the underlying needs of each group and seek a mutually acceptable solution. The business analyst's best course of action when faced with conflicting requirements is to facilitate a discussion among the involved stakeholder groups to understand their underlying needs and perspectives. By delving into the root cause of the disagreement, the business analyst can guide them towards a mutually acceptable solution or a compromise that satisfies the most critical aspects for all parties. For example, if sales wants a feature for quick order entry and finance wants detailed audit trails, the BA might propose a solution that combines both needs efficiently. Always remember that effective conflict resolution involves active listening and collaborative problem solving to achieve consensus. Question 19. When eliciting requirements, what is the primary benefit of conducting a walkthrough or review of the documented requirements with stakeholders? A. To formally approve the project budget. B. To identify errors, omissions, inconsistencies, or misunderstandings before development. C. To assign specific tasks to the development team. D. To train end users on the new system. Answer: B. To identify errors, omissions, inconsistencies, or misunderstandings before development. The primary benefit of conducting a walkthrough or review of documented requirements with stakeholders is to proactively identify any errors, omissions, inconsistencies, or misunderstandings before significant development work begins. This collaborative review ensures that the requirements accurately reflect stakeholder needs and that everyone has a shared understanding of what is to be built, saving costly rework later. For instance, stakeholders might catch a missing feature or clarify an ambiguous statement during the review. Always perform reviews to validate the accuracy and clarity of your requirements. Question 20. In an organization adopting Agile principles, what is the role of the business analyst often referred to as, particularly in Scrum? A. Project Manager. B. Scrum Master. C. Product Owner. D. Release Manager. Answer: C. Product Owner. In an organization adopting Agile principles, especially within the Scrum framework, the role of the business analyst is often fulfilled by or closely aligned with the product owner. The product owner is responsible for maximizing the value of the product resulting from the work of the development team, primarily by managing and clearly communicating product backlog items. For example, the product owner gathers user stories, prioritizes them, and ensures they are understood by the team. Always remember that the product owner acts as the voice of the customer and business in an Agile team. Question 21. What does the SMART acronym stand for in the context of writing effective requirements? A. Simple, manageable, agile, realistic, timely. B. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. C. Strategic, marketable, accountable, resourceful, testable. D. Scalable, maintainable, adaptable, reusable, transparent. Answer: B. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. The SMART acronym stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, serving as a guideline for writing effective and high-quality requirements. Applying the SMART criteria ensures that requirements are clear, testable, and realistic, making them much easier for the development team to understand and implement correctly. For example, instead of, "The website should load quickly," a SMART requirement would be, "The website's homepage shall load within 3 seconds for 90% of users." Always use the SMART framework to craft robust and unambiguous requirements. Question 22. A business analyst is creating a diagram to show the sequence of activities and decision points within a business process. Which type of diagram is most appropriate for this purpose? A. Entity Relationship Diagram, ERD. B. Use Case Diagram. C. Activity Diagram. D. Class Diagram. Answer: C. Activity Diagram. An activity diagram is the most appropriate type of diagram for showing the sequence of activities and decision points within a business process. It visually represents the flow of control from one activity to another, including parallel processes, forks, joins, and conditional paths. For instance, an activity diagram could illustrate the steps involved in processing a customer order, from initiation to fulfillment. Always use activity diagrams to map out workflows and understand process logic clearly. Question 23. In the context of business analysis, what is the primary purpose of a gap analysis? A. To identify the physical location of project team members. B. To determine the differences between the current state and the desired future state. C. To analyze the financial viability of a project. D. To identify gaps in stakeholder communication. Answer: B. To determine the differences between the current state and the desired future state. The primary purpose of a gap analysis is to systematically determine and illustrate the differences, or gaps, between an organization's current state and its desired future state. This analysis helps to identify what capabilities, processes, or systems are missing or need improvement to achieve the desired outcomes. For example, a gap analysis might compare a company's current manual invoicing process with a desired automated one, highlighting the functional differences. Always use gap analysis to define the scope of change needed to reach business objectives. Question 24. Which of the following statements best describes the role of a business analyst in project management? A. Solely responsible for coding and testing the solution. B. Primarily focused on managing the project budget and schedule. C. Serves as a liaison between stakeholders and the project team, eliciting, analyzing, and managing requirements. D. Only involved in the project during the post-implementation support phase. Answer: C. Serves as a liaison between stakeholders and the project team, eliciting, analyzing, and managing requirements. The role of a business analyst in project management is primarily to serve as a crucial liaison, bridging the communication gap between diverse stakeholders and the project team. This involves systematically eliciting, analyzing, documenting, validating, and managing requirements throughout the project lifecycle to ensure the developed solution accurately addresses the business needs. For example, a BA translates business language into technical specifications and clarifies technical constraints to business users. Always remember that the business analyst is key to ensuring the project builds the right product for the right reasons. Question 25. What is the main objective of creating a requirements management plan? A. To detail the specific technical solution architecture. B. To define how requirements will be elicited, analyzed, documented, managed, and communicated throughout the project. C. To outline the project's marketing and sales strategy. D. To estimate the overall cost of the project and its return on investment. Answer: B. To define how requirements will be elicited, analyzed, documented, managed, and communicated throughout the project. The main objective of creating a requirements management plan is to establish a clear framework for how requirements will be handled from inception to deployment across the entire project lifecycle. This plan details the processes, tools, roles, and responsibilities for eliciting, analyzing, documenting, managing changes, and communicating requirements to all stakeholders. For example, it might specify that all major requirement changes must go through a formal change control board. Always use a requirements management plan to ensure a structured and consistent approach to handling requirements.